For all things outdoors, listen to the father of two, the Jesus-loving TV show hosting hairy, true-blood American redneck, Ben Cole.
And listen to the outdoor filming, chef cooking, chocolate milk drinking, John Weissmuller. And we are
Rooted Podcast. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Rooted Podcast. This week's episode is so special. We've got our friends Nate and Quinn from the HuntWise app. This is going to be exciting. We're going to get into all that, I promise. Just stay with us here. As always, though, our friend Ben's got a Bible verse to start us out right. So Ben, the floor is yours.
All right, we're going to talk about friendships. Proverbs 18:24. There are friends who destroy each other, but a real friend sticks closer than a brother, which is so true. And, you know, guys, I am so glad we got to forge this friendship in camp this year and really get to know each other and get to hang out in God's creation and see a bunch of deer. We saw a pile of deer and ate good, and it was a good time. I wish we could all killed one, especially you guys, but you know, sometimes that's just not in the works.
It happens.
Yeah,
It
that's
happens.
hunting.
That's the life.
Yeah. It was definitely different for both Quinn and I to be down. What was it, August 23rd?
Yeah,
Hunting that early.
Yep.
For you guys, it's velvet season, and it was like,
Yeah.
man, feels cool to be hunting in August.
Yeah.
We had to wait till
Definitely
October
something.
1st.
Definitely something I've never done for whitetails, hunt whitetail in August. So it was, I'm always looking to hunt whitetail as much as possible. So being able to add an extra month in there is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. So where are you guys from? I mean, obviously hunting, whitetails in August is weird for any state, but obviously in y'all state that just doesn't happen, huh?
Negative. Yeah. We're based out of West Michigan, or Quinn, you're a little more central Michigan, but I'm just south of the city of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah, I'm
Gotcha.
right kind of in the middle of the state here. I'm about halfway between Lansing and Grand Rapids. So ag country, flat, few tree pockets here and there, but a lot of fields.
Yeah, those tree
But,
pockets
yeah,
are where
our
those
opener
big deer
was
like to
October
hang
1st.
out. Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
definitely, I think, something like when you have the ag like Quinn has, I think in Caledonia, it's like decent amount of ag where I'm at, but there's still some pretty heavy wooded areas too that are just in the thick of it with some public land too. But
Mm-hmm.
Gotta
Definitely a
love
lot of
that
ag.
good old public land. Oh yeah, buddy, we've
Oh,
all
yeah.
been there.
Yep,
Oh, we
yep.
have.
Yeah.
More times than not. Well, guys, let's dive into this
yeah.
a little bit and start talking about this HuntWise app that you guys are a part of, that we're a part of, and we absolutely love it, and we use it all the time. So would one of y'all kind of give the listeners a breakdown of what the app is in just a simple overview?
Yeah. So I guess I'll go back to like the origin story about HuntWise and how it got started. Initially, the original founder, Jeff Corder, he was big into doing some waterfowl hunting. And all the time, his buddies would be asking, hey, when should we go? When should we go? What's the weather looking like? And Jeff has a little bit of a computer science background. And it's like, you know what? I think I could make maybe some sort of weather algorithm to help us figure out the best time to go waterfowl hunting.
Mm-hmm.
So he created an app, and this is sort of back in, I think, early 2015, I believe. He created this sort of weather algorithm app, put it into the App Store, and it's mostly just for him and his friends that they could use, friends and family. And then quickly, I think he had about 250,000 downloads within like a 3-month time period.
Wow.
And I think that sort of triggered something off in his head. It's like, you know what? There's something here. So from that initial algorithm he did for around waterfowl, obviously he's a big whitetail hunter too here from Michigan. And little by little, he started creating this algorithm and started creating what we call HuntWise now, which is basically it's a mapping tool. So it shows you the boundary lines as satellite map layers. It'll give you information about certain layers of the property too, or if you're looking for public land, private land, it gives you sort of that overview. But a big core about HuntWise is that it's a whitetail centric app. We have a couple different tools called HuntCast, which is sort of our weather algorithm. Multitude of different factors come into sort of the algorithm, but essentially we try to help people optimize their time by trying to figuring out what the best day to hunt. And we sort of drilled a little bit further down too, is also like, if you are typically hunting a couple properties, and have multiple stands on each property, sometimes you come to the decision paralysis of just like, what stand should I pick? So one of the cool features that we developed and built out was our wind cast tool. So when you're setting up your stand, we built it where you can set your ideal wind per that stand. So if you have it on a certain field, it's best for west wind. You have a couple other stands that are built for north winds or maybe an east wind. We'll have an opportunity in the windcast to help the hunter figure out of my 8 stands, based on the wind that's coming up tomorrow morning, how many of my 8 stands actually have an ideal wind that matches up to what I preset it for. So it really tries to help hunters figure out the best stand to pick. So a couple of those 8 stands, if 5 of them are 50%, it's not the most ideal wind. Another 2 is like, okay, it's like 70%, and then you have like 1 or 2 that's like 100% matches what that current wind is going to be like in the next day. It really helps hunters figure out out of their 8 stands what stand that they should pick that matches the wind, matches the wind for the entrance or the exit strategy. So it really helps try to help people sort of optimize their time from a whitetail kind of strategic planning kind of process.
So it almost kind of takes the guesswork out of it. You do all the work on the front end, and then when it's time, to kind of get after it, it just takes the guesswork out.
Yeah, and I think Jeff, he's working full time. He had a couple of kids by that time as well, and I think that sort of was like a big spark for a lot of us who use the app too. Is like time is definitely a precious commodity. So being able to sort of help optimize the time and figure out the best day to hunt, and then even drill down farther and figure out the best stand to hunt. That's where HuntWise comes in real handy for a lot of people, and we've seen quite a bit of success from that over the last few years.
Awesome. Well, that's a great overview, and I think you went pretty in depth, and I really like how you started off with telling us where it came from. But I want to know, I'm sitting here looking at Quinn, and I see these big bucks in the background, and he just told me about the deer he killed, and I want to know how you set your tree stands with the wind direction in the app to kill that deer. How did you pattern that deer? What did you use in the app to help you actually harvest that deer?
Yeah, so that's a really good point. So when you are setting up your different stands in the app, one of the key things you need to do is you need to set your ideal winds. If you don't set your ideal winds, you're not going to get the best hunt cast. You're not going to see your best wind cast readings. It's not going to be able to give you the best educated guess, essentially. And so the more information you can put into the app, the better results you're going to get out. And yesterday was the second day of our season. It was the first time I went out on this particular property, but there was a buck that I watched all summer. I mean, every day I went out to scout, he came out. He came out in the same spot, but a lot of the times he was coming out right on the edge of a wind where there's a wood lot, and then there's a field, and there's another field with a small tree line going through there. And how he cut out of the one field that had pretty limited options for wind directions. And so I only had really a southeast or southwest wind is all I could hunt this place. And I had to move another stand about 60 yards to make it work. And I mean, I was borderline on, I got one shot opportunity, and it's a small window. And so I ended up shooting him in that field before he crossed his fence line. But there was a little spot in there that the corn didn't grow in this little tiny corner. And between the time I saw him and the time I got an arrow off, maybe 11 seconds. He was not going to stick around.
Wow.
I mean, tiny little window. So didn't even pull my binoculars up or anything. Went through, I ranged everything beforehand, so I knew exactly, reset my sight. And yeah, as soon as he came in, I knew it was him. So it was grab the bow as fast as possible and wait for my little window I have. So it was it was a fun start to the season here in Michigan, that's for sure.
Holy cow. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you had to make the moment count whenever the moment came to you. And oh my God, I couldn't imagine. I'm just sitting here trying to think, you think 11 seconds, and it's like, That's really not a lot of time to get your crap together and shoot a big deer that you've been
No,
watching.
it's not a lot of time. When you essentially, in the tree I'm sitting in didn't have any branches yet. I mean, it was set off the field maybe 15 yards because it's in the
Right.
middle of a fence row. But I don't have anything behind me either. It was just
Oh,
this
good.
was a tree that I knew I could sit in. So I mean, I'm sitting out in the open, and when this thing comes in, it's also facing right at me. So it's like
Perfect.
you got to be careful with your movements, or else you're gonna get
Yeah, buddy.
So
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Yeah,
you know, sometimes the best camouflage is being still. So there you go.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I had my bow just on an arm, just perfect, so I would only have to move my arm just a tiny little bit to grab
Right.
it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Holy cow.
So
So
it
look.
worked out too because he
Oh yeah.
he heard something in the corn behind him, and I thought he was actually going to spook, so I had to give him the old meh to get him to stop, and I had to do the loudest one I have ever done. I'm sure my neighbors could hear it 200 yards away.
Can we get a you know, kind of like a rendition of it?
Reenactment? Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
Let's just say there was about 5 louder and louder. He finally turned his head and turned his body enough to get an arrow in him, but
That's
we
funny.
went through
Yeah,
him, and yeah, I mean, I heard him take off running through the corn into this fence row, and he ended up crashing about 60 yards away, so I knew I did pretty good.
Nice.
Heck yeah. That's one of the best sounds, man, is, you know, obviously the arrow, but then whenever you hear the, you know, not so subtle fall of a whitetail through a bunch of timber, it works out pretty good for you.
When they're going down and they're hurt like that, it's not quiet. It's loud.
No, exactly.
Yeah, it's very loud.
Exactly.
All I'm sitting here thinking is about you. The man. There was one time I can remember a few years ago. I was at the ranch and I was gun hunting, and this deer was 180 yards away, and he wouldn't stop. And I said, "Man, hey, deer!" And he finally stopped. Boom! I was like, golly, Bo. I had to scream at that thing to make him stop.
Sometimes, you know, they just don't care, man.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's I mean, there's other deer that I've tried to stop like that before, and they take off running like no other. So it's really interesting having to judge a deer's personality too, like that, to know whether you can throw some noise at them to try to stop them, or if you should just be as quiet as possible.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
What about you, Nate? You got any crazy deer stopping stories?
Negative on my side. No. A lot from my hunting backgrounds. Like, I was actually grew up in a hunting household. I was actually adopted when I was 6 months, and my dad hunted. So I went out with him probably, you know, half a dozen times as a kid before I was able to hunt myself. Hunted throughout most of high school, and then I didn't have any friends that actually also hunted. So I actually stopped because I just want to hang out with friends at that time point in my life. Then you fast forward to after college, and I actually was starting in HuntWise in 2019. And just the nature of, you know, working at a hunting company, it definitely sort of struck back that sort of desire to get back in the woods. So I always say to people, it's like, oh, you work for a hunting company, you must be an expert hunter. I was like, nope, I'm drinking from the water fountain. No, I'm trying to pick Quinn's brain, you know, half a dozen different times a week, and just I'm just trying to learn as much as possible. But I definitely say it's definitely helps on the whole learning curve. And I think, you know, for anyone who's interested in hunting, who's listening, it's like there's a lot of resources out there. A lot of people that are willing to give you resources of knowledge, even, you know, through social media. Obviously, YouTube, you can learn a lot. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of things you can pick up and, you know, feel more and more confident, sort of understand how deer behavior is affected by obviously where you're setting your stand, your noise, your wind, especially. And I think that's why I use the HuntCast a lot from the wind side, just to actually understand. You know, you just can't walk straight to your stand. You have to understand which way the wind's blowing. And if you think that's where the deer are coming from or bedded, you know, probably shouldn't hunt that stand because you're going to just blow it up. You're not going to see anything because of your wind setup. So no crazy deer stopping stories, no cowbells, no hey, nothing of that nature yet. So, but hopefully in the future there'll be something a unique stopping status I'll be able to
it'll
share a story
happen.
on.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
You know,
that's what you know. My background's a little bit different from all y'all's background.
Yeah, and you know, hey man, that's what makes it awesome, really. You know, so
exactly. Yeah, that's
I definitely enjoy it Because look, I'm a turkey hunter. You know, when it really comes down to it, of course I deer hunt, waterfowl, you know, all that. But you know, turkeys, man, you don't got to worry about the wind on them critters. So this whole wind thing for deer is, you know, it's not new to me, but it kind of is coming from a turkey background, really.
Yep.
Whenever I was first starting, it's a whole new ball game for sure.
Yeah, I think, you know, you sometimes you get so focused when I think you're starting off hunting is just the wind on your stand. Like, you know, you just think about, like, you know, what's my ideal wind for the stand? But I think the bigger picture of, you know, and probably even more importantly, what's my wind condition for getting to the stand? It's all, I think, so much about your hunt
Entry
success
and exit is so
is
important.
entry and exit, 100%.
We
And
talk
I
about
think,
that all the time. I mean, it's so important. But people overlook it. That's exactly what you're saying. I mean, you know, I just set up a stand a couple days ago, and you know, I was thinking about a few spots, and that was one of my requirements. Was like, how can I get in and out of here with the most, you know, easement, and just, you know, again with the wind, and where do I think? Of course, this is a brand new property, and there'll be ebbs and flows all season on it, but it's a big factor for sure. And it sounds like to me that, you know, this HuntWise app can really help you along in making those decisions.
Oh, it
exactly. I
does.
think the nice thing with the windcast tool and like in the app actually shows a physical wind direction, not just for the stand, but for your whole property or your hunt area. So it gives you like a very holistic viewpoint of, you know, where you're parking and you know where you want to get to from point A to point B. But it's going to show you the whole wind direction and, you know, thinking on the big picture of like, what's my entrance going to look like? And then where's my scent going to be blowing into? That really helps give you that bigger overview of like how to, you know, hunt properly. And even at the beginning, how to, like, you know, when you're setting up stands or if you're saddle hunting, to just get a better understanding of where can I actually go successfully, or I'm not going to bugger things up.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because whenever I was looking at this property, I got with Ben and we just sat there and we were just sharing pins back and forth of like maybe here, check this out, go over here and scout this. So it was actually really cool because he could help me scout. You know, being 3 hours away, you know, that was really awesome too. Especially that whole drop and pin thing. Uh, I I really like it. You know, you kind of get a more seasoned eye on it, and they can be like, check out A, B, and C, and he drops you a pin, and there you go.
Exactly.
Right.
I think that's the nice thing where you can actually take a whole hunt area, which is like a property. You can share it with other users. So in this case, you'd be sharing with Ben, so he can get like a holistic viewpoint of where your property's set up. You know, where you think you're gonna be parking, drop a parking, you know, marker, and you can sort of scout out. You know, flip on a couple of different, you know, map layers to get an idea of what the topography is going to look like, and obviously you have the satellite imagery to know where your food sources are, where you think bedding is. Um, that really helps do a lot of the e-scouting to at least, you know, when you're going out there for the first time, boots on the ground, you at least have a plan, I think, together.
Yes,
And like,
exactly.
and obviously plans have to be changed, adjusted once you're there. Well, at least it's a better starting point than just walking in there, kind of a thing, in, you know, the early summer, and
Yeah.
you know, tries to make your time a little bit more efficient with having 2, 3, 4, 5 spots you really want to check out ahead of time for maybe set a stand or plant up a trail camera.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
because
and
Ben
I
and I
think,
have walked in
yeah,
blind, haven't we, buddy?
oh, buddy, we have. And I think that's what makes dropping pins such a crucial thing when starting off a property anyway. Before you even go to the property, you know, go on there, look for the saddles, look for where the two ridges come together and meet down in a field. Those are your access points of where deer are going to travel to and from. And when you go in and you're actually boots on the ground, like you're talking about, Nate, you can look for sign like scrapes, rubs, bedding areas. You can mark all of these things, and then you can start correlating after you put the cameras up of, okay, these deer are bedding here, they're traveling here, here, here. I've got this one buck on 7 different cameras. So, you know, it's really good to be able to drop those pins and know, because once you find a rub line, if you follow that rub line, it's going to eventually make a circle. And where the 2 circles of rub lines meet, that doubles your chances of seeing a buck. So, you know, the thing is once you kill that one buck, there's going to be another one that comes in and takes his place. that may be a little bit inferior, or maybe a neighboring buck that just decided to come over and check out the hot does in the area. So, like what you were saying, putting the boots on the ground, it's really good to have these pins dropped and continuously drop them. I drop them all the time. I'll be riding around and see a brand new scrape that I've never seen. I'm like, oh, pin. I know where that is now. And, just like there's a new food plot I just put in this year. Never had a food plot there, and it's already got a scrape in it. Had no idea the deer were scraping there. Well, guess what? We've got a pin there. And the cool part about that area is there's two creeks that intersect right there, and it goes down to the part of the property where the spring actually comes out of the rocks that I was showing you guys. And just to your east is a logging road that comes down from the top of the mountain. So it winds down and then ends up right there in that corner, right where those two creeks intersect. So it's like this major highway. And I found it back in turkey season, and there was just a cattle trail going up the bank. And I thought, okay, we need to stand here. If nothing else, this is a doe management area. And furthermore, when you get into the rut, those does are going to have bucks checking them, and the bucks are going to be running through the property looking for those does. So wherever the does are now, and then just you better bet there's a buck probably not too far away, especially end of October through the end of November here anyway. Usually our rut comes in around, I want to say the peak of the rut is really around muzzleloader, which is November 9th. That's about right, isn't it, John? For you guys too over there.
Yeah, up here. So for those of you that don't know, basically Ben is kind of in a bowl, and I'm on what's called the Cumberland Plateau.
Mm-hmm.
So we're usually a week or two behind them with anything, dude. If it's like Ben's like, dude, the turkeys are on fire. I'm like, all right, give it like 7 to 14 days, and my turkeys are gonna be on fire. Same thing with with the rut. So it's kind of good. I kind of have a Ben, everyone else is kind of just guessing. I'm like, man, I just listen to Ben. And whenever he says the rut's on, give it about 10 days and it's going to be on right here.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's right. So, we're talking about HuntCast, and one of the things that I really wanted to talk about was some of the factors. And most importantly, a lot of these guys are gun hunters and hunting the rut because that is their time, that they think, okay, this is my best opportunity to kill a deer. And one of these factors is the rut intensity. So, Quinn, would you mind to share with us about how that kind of plays in and tell folks what all goes into that?
Yeah. So in the app, we have Rutcast. And what Rutcast is going to do is it's going to take your location based on where you are in the country. And it's going to kind of tell you at what stage you are in the rut, whether it's that pre-rut, whether you're at peak breeding, whether you're post-rut, those kind of things. And so you can use that calendar to kind of figure out how you should be hunting. Because, the different stages of the rut, you're hunting very differently. Mm-hmm. Pre-rut obviously is, you got bucks running around everywhere. And then once you're actually in the middle of the rut, it's kind of, I don't like hunting the middle of the rut because deer aren't moving. They're locked down with does. Mm-hmm. Unless you get a buck that comes off a doe and he's really looking for another one and going to put up a fight, which we don't have a lot of here in Michigan. We got a pretty young age class here, so we don't get to experience that very often. But then you start to get kind of at the tail end of the breeding there, and you're going to get a few does that aren't bred, and that's when you're going to get another whole round of bucks just running around like crazy too. So using that in the app, you can kind of figure out, hey, where should I be hunting? Should I be hunting over a food source, or should I be hunting over, say, like a trail that's between a couple bedding areas or things like that? So it's a really nice tool to help you narrow down exactly where you should end up going.
Wow. It's like definitely like those features of just like knowing what stage you're in, the phase, because I think the general idea people think of the rut is this is the magical time of the year. We'll take the week of vacation off, and we'll take the PTO off, and we'll get okay with the family, and you're out there. And even if you are misjudging what phase you're in technically, like Quinn said, it will change how you're hunting. And either you're going to have that magical, almost at that kind of pre-rut kind of phase where deer are just running everywhere. That's, I think, what people think of the rut. But like you said, Quinn, like when it's actually they're breeding, does and bucks aren't moving a ton. Like they're sort of, doing their thing, close to bedding. Like they're not going to be running around as much as I think people think of when it's actually more like the pre-rut phase.
Mm-hmm.
So it really does help you figure out, knowing based on the time of the year I'm in, how do I hunt this specific time frame.
Yeah, and it's going to help you figure out, hey, should I actually take these days off, or maybe I should scoot them up or go behind a little further in the week. Using HuntCast along with that rutcast too.
Yeah, one of the main features that in the HuntCast, because I get this question asked a lot from friends and just other folks, is just like, what are the main I guess triggers for your good days and your bad days? We actually worked with Jeff Sturgis from Whitetail Habitat Solutions to sort of craft our algorithm based on some of the information that he's researched and has put into practice for a number of decades. A lot of it comes down to is these cold fronts and these weather fronts when they come in, and how that really affects the deer movement. Obviously, from a simplistic aspect, it's you think of it as like a human. If it's really hot out, you don't really want to run around and move a lot because you don't want to get overheated. When it's those first cool days of the fall, you're like, man, this is awesome. I can put a hoodie on, I can go outside, it feels nice. So it's the same kind of mentality for some of the deer too, where it's like they're going to start moving up, they're going to get up earlier, they're not going to be as worried as about the heat per se, and they're just going to see a little more activity, and that's what we show for more of a deer movement kind of prediction. So when deer are up and moving, you're going to see a higher score based on some of those cold fronts or raft or a storm. You're going to see those HuntCast scores be in the higher percentiles.
Well, one thing I'll say too is that is very important. It's very crucial. And another thing to look at is the moon phase and barometric pressure, because that has a lot to do with mature bucks moving. The moon phase is it's important. When you got to hunt that moon phase right. I mean, I'm pretty sure a waxing crest is pretty awesome. I've also had pretty good luck, 3 days before and 3 days after a full moon, just in the past. But that's one thing that I really like about the app is it breaks it down for you. It shows you the temperature change by degree. It shows you the wind speed, the moon phase, the barometric pressure, if it's up, down, and it gives you a thumbs up or down, whether it's good or bad, which is really nice. And you can even change the species in the app for whatever you're hunting. So I really think that is important to talk about, is all these things that tie in together to make these predictions very, very accurate, because I can promise you they're accurate. In fact, 2 days ago, I looked at my HuntCast and it said, don't hunt today. You're not going to see anything. And I thought, I got to stand in cornfield. I'll see everything. Didn't see a deer. Did not see a deer. But Saturday when we hunted, it said 90%. Guess what? We saw 10 deer. It works. I mean, because you're factoring in all these aspects that make deer move, make them be on the hunt for food. And, like you're saying, after a storm, typically when you have a hurricane blow through and it has rained for 4 days in a row, and I mean blistering rain, not just some little drizzle, it is hammering. We got 5 inches overnight. They're not up and moving and feeding. They're bedded down. They're hanging out, not going very far. And as soon as that rain lets up, here they come right to that food, because they're hungry and they're going to get something to eat. And, another thing to look at too is how well your acorns have produced, because this year for me, ours did not produce very well at all because we've been in a drought all summer. But for John, they did well because they had a little bit more rain than we did during those summer months. So I really think all of this tied together makes this app even more special than anything on the market, because it gives you such a diverse, intense look at what all factors it takes to harvest a mature deer.
Yeah, for sure. One of the other things about the app that is probably my favorite feature, it's one of our newest ones too, is going to be LiDAR. I absolutely love the LiDAR.
What is LiDAR, Quinn? Like I keep on hearing this, and it's just like, I just keep hearing it about all the different map layers, and everyone's like, dude, this LiDAR is sick. Can you just explain like what it is?
Yeah, so LiDAR is essentially, it's a way to look at the terrain without any leaf cover, tree cover, things like that. So essentially it takes it down to the bare dirt, the soil, the rock, everything like that. And you can look at it, and it's a black and white layer. So it's a grayscale kind of thing. And what it does is it has these different shade areas, and it'll show you exactly where there's these big ridges dropping in. It'll show you a creek bed that you can't see through the tree canopy, but with LiDAR you can. And man, it is like night and day. So when you're figuring out, like when I was down there at Sinking Creek, and I'm hunting on the edge of a food plot there, somewhere I've never hunted in my life, never been in my life, and I'm watching these different deer come into this field, come into this food plot. And first thing I do is I pull up the app and I start looking at the LiDAR layer going, why are these deer moving through here and how are they moving through there? I mean, you can gain a lot of knowledge with topography lines and stuff, but LiDAR, for a guy like me that comes from flat farm country, it just sells it right away. I mean, I can see it visually, like, oh, this is how that's doing that. That's why these deer are coming down here. Oh, these deer aren't going to come from behind me because, this drop off is insane, kind of things like that. So it's just a really, really cool feature.
Well, and look, you're kind of leaving a part out here. You also had an insane amount of time to be on your phone in that stand because you went out around, 11 or 12 that one day and didn't come back for 7 or 8 hours and ran out of water and, welcome to Tennessee.
It was really cold out too. So that was the cool part. I think it was I was excited to get out in a stand. I mean, I love deer hunting. And so poor Nate had to tag along with me and he had to sit there for the whole 8 hours too. But I had some time to sit and play some games and really study some maps. That's for sure.
The fun part about that is like there's no cell service, so we had to download or offline the map. So like we could look at maps,
which at least that you can do that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
That's something I recommend too. Anytime you create a new hunt area, which is the first thing you're going to do when you get at, you're looking at a new piece or you get access to a new piece, you're going to go through, you're going to create a hunt area. And then as you're doing that, you have an option to download it. And there's 3 different resolutions you can download in. If you got room on your phone, always download the highest resolution. You'll be happier later when you're, like us sitting in a tree stand for 8 hours and you want to see as much detail as possible. So nice. The downloading map feature is key too.
Yeah. So the reason that I put that shooting house where I did in the field that y'all were sitting in is because the 2 ridges that meet in front of it, and there's 2 logging roads that come down and meet right there, and then there's that little valley that goes through. So, and at the end of it, there's another logging road that goes up. So there's 3 points that meet right there, and then they walk right out into the field. So, and then behind you, not where y'all were saddle hunting, but behind the blind, kind of down to the left where that other bow stand was. So that's an open little field, but there's another logging road over there coming down the mountain, and it's just like a major intersection in the middle of that field. And I think that's how those deer were kind of coming out, and to your right too from the graveyard field.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. That's exactly how they were coming out. Yeah, they were coming out a little bit further to the north there, and then working their way down towards that graveyard field.
Yep.
They're doing like a big J hook coming in with the wind.
Yep. Every time. So those bucks that we saw last Saturday, they came in directly in front of us, right down one of those ridges, and just popped out right in the corn. And I was actually watching a doe and that had twins, and I thought, ooh, we need to save her. She don't need to get shot. We need the twins. If she's got twin genetics, keep her. Doubling the population every year. So, but yeah, she came out first, and that's exactly where she came out of, was right in front. And then I looked up and over, and one of the bucks that you had saw was standing right there, 3 rows into the corn. I just saw this gray mass, and I thought, that looks like a deer. Binoculars, oh my gosh, that is a buck. Oh, that's a shooter buck. All right. Ryan, do you see that deer? Where? He's right there. You see him? Where? Right there. Oh, I got him. He picked his head up, and Ryan got one of the most beautiful cinematic shots of him, slow motion with the rain falling down on him, slinging his head around with an ear of corn in his mouth. It was awesome. So, that, and two, deer will access a field differently based on the wind and the time of the year, because a buck in rut kind of throws all precautions to the wind, especially when you have a hot doe close by. They don't care. They don't care about your scent. They don't give a crap. You just don't want to bust the doe. That's the biggest thing. Don't bust her, and you're good. So, but one of the ways that I actually found that, talking about LiDAR, is going in, and at the time I was looking at topography lines, and then recently, I started diving into the LiDAR layer when y'all dropped it, and I was like, man, I wish I had this 3 years ago. This makes my life so much easier. I mean, being an outfitter and, filming a TV show and all this stuff, and having you guys in camp too, it was awesome. And I learned so much from you guys. And I'm just really glad that y'all came down, and would love to have you again. We got a pile of turkeys now. We had one heck of a hatch, and so y'all need to come back during turkey season. We'll go hammer a few of those guys.
Yeah, for sure. The amount of turkeys that we saw down there was unreal. I mean, we were seeing 40 turkeys a sit, so you definitely have turkeys.
Poultry farm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just letting them out of the pen, but yeah.
Yeah. Organic free range.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's right. That's it.
Kidding.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So go ahead, John.
Man, I was just sitting here thinking about all the things that's on this app, and I'm thinking like, well, I know we've only hit, the tip of the iceberg, really, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
And we've kind of deep dived a little bit, but I know that you guys got some videos on there too, right?
Yeah, we just started this new project that's getting launched in the app called Field Guide Plus. And that's really a central hub of where we're doing some curated educational video content that's going to live in the app. And, some of the pieces are going to be tips and tricks, strategy videos, how-tos. Right now, a lot of the content is focused on, obviously, whitetail, just being part of the season. But I think we're going to be looking to branch out to, obviously, turkey to be the next big thing. So I know we'll be talking about that, Ben and John, about turkey hunting. But yeah, we definitely trying to create this whole kind of internal resource within the platform to basically help people, learn as fast as they can, to learn from some of the best industry experts that we could find, that we can work with, to create this content for everyone. Truly believe is content that will help people, in their hunting journey. It might be things that they have heard before, but having another iteration and hearing from the specific people like Jeff Sturgis, John Dudley, to really understand, I guess, the concepts and the thought process behind some of these strategies, and the why behind it and the how. I think will really help people shorten that whole knowledge gap from just starting off to hunting with family to starting to hunt on their own. And there's a lot of content out there on YouTube, but what we want to do is sort of condense it all in a very not necessarily educational or like school format where there's chapters and all, but we really want to try to make it really digestible for people to watch a series, come away with some strong learnings and understandings that they can then implement into their own hunting regimen, whether it's bow hunting and whether it's just a whitetail, that they can at least have almost like this knowledge resource within that now too.
I think that's great.
Yeah, because I think there is sort of that now what kind of phase that comes for a lot of folks. Like, all right, I know I like hunting. I've been hunting with friends. I've been hunting with family. Maybe I want to hunt on my own. I want to find my own piece of property, or I can figure out how I can maybe be better than where it was 2 years ago. And having a resource of information, we believe will help people reach that next level of hunting for more people, which is going to be a key cornerstone of what we're building at HuntWise right now.
I mean, it kind of sounds like a one-stop shop, really. You can you can find out kind of what land you may want to hunt and who owns it, right? And then, okay, perfect. You talk to Miss Sally Mae, she's in, and now it's like, okay, now what? Exactly to your point. I got to figure out how to hunt this critter, and then you can start dropping pins, putting the boots on the ground, looking at all the maps. One thing leads to another, bada bing, bada boom, and you got a deer on the ground.
Yep. No, I think we're just trying to alleviate as many, I feel like, knowledge bumps out of the pathway of
Yeah, kind of the
people.
learning curve, make it a little
Yeah,
less of a curve.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, because like one of the things we do have in the app too is besides the landowner name and the boundary lines, if you actually click on the name, it'll pull up a contact info, and you can actually try to pull up the phone number. And obviously, if the phone number is up to date in public records, you can actually call the landowner. Hopefully get permissions for property or just do an introduction, or if it's a neighbor of a property that you currently hunt that you've never really maybe have talked to, try at least give them a phone call, let them know that you're hunting out on the neighboring property. Making sure that, hey, if I shoot a buck, that I have permission to go retrieve it. Can I stop by the house? Shake your hand, meet you in person, and it's been a really helpful tool for me personally. That's how I got the two properties I'm currently hunting. Just be able to call people up, be able to show up, know their name, shake their hand, tell them what I'm doing, hopefully get permission. And then the next stage is, okay, now I have the property to lay down the app. We'll start putting down pins, and we'll start e-scouting. We'll start putting boots on the ground, and having some of these educational videos too, sort of understanding tree stand placement, where I should be doing it for the bedding, transition areas, all those things. So yeah, we
Right.
like you said, we try to make it as much of a one-stop shop as possible for people.
I think you've done just that.
I think you have too.
There's more to it. There's definitely more improvements we can make. So I think we're always trying to hopefully iterate and move forward and improve. But yeah, we're taking the steps there, and hopefully people will notice that, and people will find more success in the field using our platform.
I will say this: we are on board. I use it. You've seen my map. I looked the other day, and I have 80 trail cameras marked on the two properties. So I use that thing like crazy, just from trail camera standpoint. So, I mean, that's not counting tree stands, rubs.
Even for just like an inventory management kind of system, it's nice to be able to mark your trail cameras, mark your tree stands, so you don't lose them. If a trail camera loses batteries and like it starts producing, you're like, man, where did I put that trail camera? You can easily try to re-find it, be able to zip out there when it's good wind, good weather, and switch out the batteries, switch out the card if you need to, and keep on carrying on.
Yep, that's it. That is it. Well, John, what else do you have on the docket for today?
Yeah, and this is a question for either one of you guys, whoever wants to answer. But okay, if someone's brand new, right? They never heard of the app, and now they're interested, and they want to look into it. What do they do? How do they start? Are there different tiers of like membership? I mean, what kind of guides somebody into starting brand new into the HuntWise?
Yeah, if you're interested, you easily find us in the App Store. Just look up HuntWise. You can also find us on the website too, and create an account on the web. It does work on your mobile device and on a laptop, PC, whatever you use. You can create an account. We have like a 7-day trial, so you can try it. If you don't like it, you can cancel that trial. But yeah, I'd say it's a great way to at least get an understanding of what we offer, hopefully how we're helpful for that specific new person in their pursuit. They can check out the map layers, see what the satellite imagery is for their area they're looking at. They can check out some of the different map layers, check out the LiDAR layer. They can sort of see what, create a hunt area just as a practice, start dropping pins where they currently have all their stuff and sort of set some ideal wins, and try to get an idea of like, hey, this would be an actually helpful tool. And if they have other friends that either use the app or want to use the app, like I said, we mentioned earlier, you can share your hunt area. So that's like basically the boundary of the property you're hunting, and you can actually share all the pins that are inside that boundary with another individual. So if you got friends, family that they sort of hunt together, or share a lease or share a property with, it's a great sort of tool that you can sort of like, hey, this would be a good communication tool That way, when we're hunting different stands, or if we move stands, if you move in the app, it moves on other people's apps too.
Right.
It's a really nice communication tool where people don't go off in the woods and they're like, "Where's that stand?" Like, "Oh, I moved it 3 weeks ago. I moved it in the app, but I didn't know that. I didn't have HuntWise." So we tried to have a good communication aspect there with HuntWise and with the shared members that
Yeah.
you share your hunt area with privately.
Or you can be really, really mean to like your brother or cousin and tell them that you moved it, but you really didn't, and you put them in a gar hole. That'd be
Oh, yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, you can say "gotcha,"
Yes.
and I'm
Gotcha.
sure they'll be happy with you.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Yeah, they'll be
sure
real happy
no
with you.
repercussions.
No,
Yeah,
not
no
at all.
repercussions at all.
No, nope,
Not even a little
nope,
bit.
nope.
Not at all.
But I do have another question. Guys, I just keep on going with questions. I could probably sit here all night long. But Quinn and Nate, what are your plans kind of going forward for the rest of the year? I know Nate, I'm sure you got a lot of things on the docket there. I know Quinn, you've already got a deer and you told us that story, but I don't know how many bucks you're allowed in Michigan. Is it only one or do you have another tag?
So we can shoot 2 bucks, and then on top of that, where I'm at, I can shoot 10 does.
Oh, wow.
Golly, bum.
So I still got a little bit of hunting to do.
Okay, I'd say so.
And Quinn fills his toes
I've never
out.
used 2 buck tags in 1 year here in Michigan. I just don't like shooting 2 bucks off the same property. But this year, I have a new piece that's far enough away from where I've normally hunted that has some pretty good deer on it. So I'm hoping to run into one there. And if not, there's some public land that I know where there's some decent deer too. But yeah, outside of that, I shoot a lot of does and I donate a lot of them too. I can't eat 10
awesome.
does. I can't eat 10 deer a year. So
I hear that. Well, look, y'all know that we can eat and we can cook too. So I'm all about it. If you ever are looking to give away some deer meat, you know where to come where we could fix it up, right?
Yeah, I know where to bring some. That's for sure. It'll be tasty. It'll be real tasty.
Yeah, I'm sure y'all gained about 15 pounds with all the heavy cream I use, but it'll be all right.
I'm telling you, that was some of the best food I've had in the camp ever. That's for sure.
I appreciate that. Yeah, man. We definitely try. I mean, look, if you're going to be together, you might as well eat good, right? So that's kind of my philosophy on life. So why not? It's just heavy cream. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
You'll digest it.
Yeah, you can go eat some carrots later with your wife.
Yeah, I'm good on that too.
I think for other hunting plans, I think for other plans, like we might be doing something out in Wisconsin. I think that's going to be some public land out there, using the app to sort of find some pieces and just sort of bomb in there for 3 or 4 days and see what we can kick up there. Might have something in Indiana. We're going to see what we can get away with from work side and get out. But
yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, so we'll see what we can do. But other than that, I've got some Michigan hunting to do. I need to catch up to Quinn and a couple other guys at the office.
Yeah,
there you go. So is there anything within the app that's coming up and coming that you guys can talk about or anything like that? Anything new and exciting coming down the pipe?
I think right now a big focus is going to be on the content side. I think we're going to be working on some stuff too, especially when it comes around turkey season. So really looking forward to that. Looking forward to springtime with all of us. I think we, hopefully we'll dabble in some waterfowl stuff too. We're looking to get into that as well. I think there's a good use case to our platform for that side, but I think we're going to be doing a lot of educational content that's going to go in the app, be available for a lot of people, for HuntWise members. I forgot to answer your question, John. We have 2 different memberships. We have a pro membership and we have an elite membership.
Okay.
The pro is basically $60 a year. The elite's $120.
Gotcha.
With elite membership, you get, instead of a 7-day forecast, you get a 15-day forecast. You get access to a lot more of the educational videos. We have a gear program in the app too, so we partner with some brand partners in the space where if you're an elite member, you can get a discount on product, whether that's broadheads, apparel, backpacks, stuff of that nature. So
nice.
typically, if you're in the market to buy some stuff and you have an elite membership, you can usually cover the cost of your membership through the savings in the app. So it's not a bad deal.
No, I didn't know that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Trying to help everyone save some money too.
Heck yeah, especially in today's world. Telling you.
Yeah, you know it.
You are
know
going
it.
to need it.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
Mhm.
Huh. How about that? Well, you know, myself, I'm still on the trying to get on the board too, Nate. So I wouldn't feel too bad about all that. Ben already shot a stud in Arkansas, and I've seen one whole spot this year. That's how much I've hunted so far. So, but
It's early days, so early
that's it.
days.
That's
Yeah.
it. Hey, we are in the dog days. This is like July in baseball. Like, look, no one really wants to be here, but we have to be. So here we are, and it's going to be
Exactly.
all right. It's going to be all right because this weekend I'm actually headed to go see Ben. I'll be there tomorrow night. So
Awesome.
this could all change this weekend.
Just like
Mhm.
that. Just like that.
Better
All you need
bring
is
your
one
bow.
evening, one morning.
Yep. That's
All
it.
day long, buddy. You ain't got to tell me twice. And this time I'm going to remember my tree harness. I'm not going to have to
Yes,
borrow
please.
anybody's. I'm going to remember this time.
Just keep in
sharing is
mind.
caring, but
Yes,
Thank
that's
God.
right. Sharing's caring, but keep in mind, all it takes is 11 seconds. And that is it.
Yeah.
Bye. Hey, I've been. I won't go there.
Yeah, well,
Sounds familiar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all I've got to say about that.
oh man, that's good stuff. Good
Goodness
stuff.
gracious.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. But no, I mean, do you guys have anything else that you guys want to talk about that's within the app that maybe we didn't cover, or anything like that? Any other crazy story or something wild that you want to get off your chest?
I don't know about anything wild, but I think we did a pretty good overall view of, HuntWise. We always like to say, our goal is to help make you the hero of your hunting journey.
Nice. I
Try to
like
help
that.
people optimize their time, figure out when they should go hunt, what stand they should go hunt, and hopefully find success in the woods. So we're just here to help out. But we
What about you,
appreciate being
Quinn?
here.
Yeah, no, I mean, the thing I would say is if you plan on going hunting this year, do it. Use a tool like HuntWise to figure out what days are best, because people just don't have all kinds of time to get out there. So use your limited days and hunt those best days.
Absolutely.
Ben?
Absolutely.
Any last words
Uh,
before we wrap it up?
Yeah, well, I will say this. I have used this app a lot, and by far one of my favorite tools to have in my pack kit for deer hunting and anything else really. But specifically for deer hunting, it has helped me be very successful, even with the Arkansas buck. I used it, it worked, and we ended up with a deer on the ground, 24-yard shot, lights out, over. So I will say from experience and using this thing a lot that it is very, very useful and helpful in aiding in your success in the whitetail woods.
And there you go. So
Amen to that.
Yeah, heck yeah. And just the last couple things for all of the viewers out there, just remember that, you guys can support us. There's a link in the description. You guys can click that and donate however much that you all see fit. It really helps us out. We also have a merch store, rootedtelevision.com. You can buy some sweet swag. We've got the hoodies coming up. As Nate was saying earlier, it's almost that hoodie season, baby. So go get you a Rooted hoodie. Guys, I can't thank you guys enough for coming on and being amazing friends and sources of knowledge as well. So thank you. You guys are amazing, and I really do appreciate y'all's time tonight.
Likewise. We
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks
you
for
guys a
having us.
ton. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So with that, please go download the HuntWise app. Search it. It's not even that hard to spell. I can spell it, so I know you guys can. Go find it, download it, get the membership. See y'all later.
HuntWise.com. Rednecks out. For all things Rooted Podcast and Rooted Television, and I mean hats, shirts, hoodies, and other merch, check out our friends at CH Lone Star Pro and the link that is in our description.